Have you ever felt really tired, and not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and maybe even deep within your soul? Have you ever felt like you are on this hamster wheel where you're moving, but you're not really moving forward? You feel stuck in a rut and you feel like you have this negativity over you that you can't really shake off. We all do find ourselves in situations like these from time to time, and sometimes we get really stuck in them, but we don't have to be. Today, I'm going to speak about how you can literally rewire your brain and your thoughts by using a key tool, and that is perspective. Welcome back. I'm Amy, and I really want to talk about the power of perspective today and how it can help you look at your life differently and therefore act differently. It's been really, really helpful for me in a lot of moments in my life where I have found myself on that hamster wheel. So just to give an explanation of why I think perspective is really, really powerful, I want to use an analogy. So picture an airplane flying over a city. In our day-to-day lives, we are in the building or in the buildings. We are doing our day-to-day tasks. We are really caught up in details and routines, and so things seem the same and we look at things really close up. But if you picture yourself in this plane, in this airplane flying over the city, you are able to see the buildings at a glance. You are able to see the bigger picture. And I want to apply this when talking about the power of perspective, that we are often just running on autopilot. We're just doing things because we did them yesterday, so we'll do them today. And a lot of times it's really helpful to take a step back, to look at the bigger picture, not just yesterday and today, but zoom out even more, realize all the things that we have, all the progress that we've made. And in doing this, you might realize achievements that you maybe haven't stopped and actually focused on enough. You might realize patterns that are holding you back, and you might realize changes that you need to make. But really, perspective can almost instantly change the way that you feel about your life because you are taking that step back. So now I want to give you 3 exercises that you can do. You can do all 3, or you can just do one of them. They're super easy to implement and you can literally do it right after this video. The first one is to pretend that you from 5 years ago is sitting in the room and you want to explain to this younger version of yourself what your life looks like now. What things have you accomplished in 5 years? Who are the people around you? What are things you have done? Pretend you're having this conversation with you. Why is this so helpful? Well, because it's likely that in 5 years, a lot has changed. And this really allows you to do that stepping back, to take notice of some achievements that you've made in the last 5 years, all the work that you've maybe done in the last 5 years. On the flip side of this, it might bring forth the important realization that maybe you haven't made that much progress in 5 years, or maybe you have changed parts of yourself that you liked back then. Either way, I think there's a lot of value from reflecting on the past 5 years and seeing what changes have you made? How do you feel about them? Do you need to give yourself more credit, or do you need to maybe refocus on some goals that you had back then that are still quite important to you? I really like this one. I think 5 years is not that long a time, but it is quite long. So it's really useful to think of all you've done in that time. If I think back to 5 years ago, I was 19. It was my first year of university. Since then, I graduated university. I got into honors. I graduated from honors. I went overseas, which was a huge dream for me. And I worked my first job, left my first job, and decided to do what I'm doing now. When I do this exercise, I feel the energy come in, and I really take a moment to appreciate how far I've come, how much I've grown, the challenges I've faced and overcome, and how much hard work I've put into the past 5 years. So it really makes me feel good, and instantly, maybe you can even see it, it gives me a renewed sense of energy. Now, the second exercise is very similar to the first one, but it might resonate a little bit more. So, 5 years ago, not that long ago, maybe you want to think back even further. Maybe you want to think back to when you were 10 years old. Invite the 10-year-old version of you into the room and explain what life is like now. Explain the relationships that you have, what your day-to-day life looks like, what habits you have. What do you think that 10-year-old version of you would say? How do you think they would feel about the life you're living? Do you think they'd be proud? Do you think they would have wished for more? This can be quite a difficult activity, but importantly, it might bring to the surface some really deeply important dreams or goals that you've forgotten about. So it's really, really a great exercise to reconnect with a very younger version of yourself and just see, especially in times when you feel like you're in a rut or you feel like you're stuck, then you really benefit from having a completely different perspective. And sometimes a childlike mind really gives you that. So it's an excellent way to be in the plane and not in the buildings. Then the third exercise, again, is quite easy, and I encourage you to have an open mind. The next routine activity that you do, pretend that you're doing it for the first time. So whether or not it's driving to a familiar place, having dinner with your loved ones, cooking something, or maybe even taking an afternoon walk, whatever it is, really take notice of your surroundings. Notice what the weather's like. If it's with somebody that you know, notice this person. Ask them something you maybe haven't asked them in a while. If it's an activity, really notice what you're doing. Notice if there's anything about the thing that you're doing that is new. Maybe on your drive to a familiar place, you notice that a sign has popped up that you didn't notice before, or maybe you can see that they repainted the lines on the road. Whatever it is, try and do something that you regularly do, but have a lens of a tourist. When you're a tourist in a foreign country, everything's brand new and everything's amazing because it's a different country and everything is so foreign. So try and bring that mindset even into things that aren't foreign to you. I think that's a really, really helpful way to just help you look at things with fresh eyes, and you'll notice and feel so empowered that you can do this. You can look at things with a new perspective and in turn feel a renewed sense of love for the people around you, enjoyment for the activity, or just a renewed sense of appreciation for the environment that's around you. But you can feel that and you are capable of it. So thank you so much for watching the video. Just to recap, I spoke about the power of perspective and how it can really help you to rewire your brain and see things differently. I've so experienced this in my own life, and I'd really love to see how it works for you. So we first had bringing the version of you from 5 years ago and explaining what life looks like, and then bringing the 10-year-old you into the room and telling them all about your life now. And the third one was to do something that is a regular activity for you, but do it with a really fresh perspective. I'd be really keen to hear which of these exercises you try out and how it works for you, how it helps you, or if you have any other exercises on how to gain some perspective and what effect that's had in your life. Remember that by doing these exercises, you might take a moment to appreciate all the things you've got and how far you've come, or it might bring to the surface that there's certain goals or experiences that are really important to you, that you want to be living, and then you can take steps to actually fulfill that. But you only do either of those by taking a step back and actually looking at your life differently. And by doing so, you get out of that rut, you get out of that hamster wheel, and you feel a lot more empowered to either appreciate life as is, or just to try out something new, to work towards a different goal, or to get some different experiences. Thank you so much again for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know any thoughts down below in the comments.